All right. People can join if they sign on a little bit untimely here. So good afternoon. My name is Krista. I am the staff liaison to the Rural Practice Initiative Committee and also the Assistant General Counsel here at the ISBA. This afternoon, some of our committee members from the Rural Practice Initiative who oversee the program that we have to place attorneys in rural areas of Illinois are here with us today to kind of run through the problem we see for shortage of attorneys in rural areas and what we're doing to try to help alleviate some of that problem through our program. So I'm going to turn it over to them to introduce themselves quickly. Once they're done, I'll show a quick video, which will kind of give you an overview, and then we'll let them take it from here. So we'll start with Clarissa. You're the first person here on my screen. We'll start with you.
Thank you, Krista. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Clarissa Gapp. I'm the Executive Director of Land of Lincoln Legal Aid. We provide free civil legal services to low-income individuals in 65 counties in central and southern Illinois. I'll turn it now to John Urbis.
Good afternoon. My name is John Urbis. I've been a member of the RPI committee since its inception in 2020. I recently retired as the Director of Clinics at SIU School of Law. Ran one of our clinics, was a civil practice clinic that did legal services in the 13 southernmost counties. I also teach a law practice management class, which basically covers the practical aspects and financial aspects of operating a law firm. And I was a partner for 10 years in a small firm in Jackson County prior to that.
Hi, I'm Megan Ryan. I'm an associate attorney at in Jacksonville, Illinois at Raymond Camp Bradney PC. It's a general practice firm, so we do a little bit of everything. I'm also an inaugural fellow for this Rural Practice Initiative. So I was a fellow during the 2020 to 2021 season, and am happy to see you all here today.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to share screen and we're going to just play a quick video.
Lawyers are crucial to any community. They become leaders. They serve on nonprofit boards. They volunteer their time. They become advisors to community leaders as well. And so it's vital that every community have lawyers who can play that role, not only to provide access to justice, but also to help develop the community itself.
My role is necessary in the community to kind of keep things moving, get LLCs formed and get estates through probate. Big decision moments for people. I'm able to help them out with that. And I know our firm wouldn't necessarily have the bandwidth for a lot of what I do if the program hadn't helped me find the job.
Just the variety of needs out there, which I think coming in, I didn't really expect to see such a variety of complex legal issues, honestly, was whether it be corporate issues or, like I said, tax issues. Like I just didn't compute that to be something that would be in my practice as much as it has been.
In a way, it's a lot like continuing law school because I'm able to use a little bit of my trial ad experience, a little bit of my moot court experience, a little bit of my drafting experience in those classes, and I'm not atrophying any of that as I do 2 to 3 years of one thing.
My work here has shown me that you can represent people who don't have as much money. You can represent individual people who don't know that much about law. You can have a more laid-back work environment where you're not working 80, 90, 100 hours a week. That's something this fellowship has really opened my eyes to.
If we can get them here, we can convince them this is a great place to work. This is a great place to be. Here's the reasons why. We can sell that once we get them here. But especially when we're dealing with men and women that are coming out of law school, we cannot compete with salaries from Chicago. We can't compete with salaries from St. Louis. We can't compete with salaries from New York. The stipend that the program gives to the fellow makes what we can offer competitive.
We're really seeing some very positive signs that because of this very structured program, we're creating an environment or helping to create an environment where they're going to want to stay in rural areas. And I'm very hopeful about that. I'm very excited about that.
We're doing the vetting, we're doing the advertising, we're doing the soliciting. We bring the people into the program who've expressed interest, and we match them with our members at no cost to our members. You have the ISBA basically doing the heavy lifting, and we say, here are some folks that we've vetted and that you might be interested in interviewing to again, come to your community, become a part of that community, because all of our fellows have expressed an interest in moving to these rural communities.
But this is an area where the state isn't going to step in, private industry is not going to step in, charities won't step in. It's lawyers placing lawyers in these rural communities where legal assistance is important. And we know how important it is to be represented and not have to go pro se. Having an advocate on your side and having an advocate on both sides leads to reasonable resolution, agreed orders, and areas where conflict can be resolved peacefully and people can move on.
We want to make a lasting impact in rural communities and a lasting impact in the lives of rural lawyers and of law students and young lawyers who are considering moving to rural areas. Please help us to do that.
All right, now we're gonna have a PowerPoint presentation, and Clarissa, you're starting, is that right?
Actually, Megan's starting.
Oh, Megan
I was
started.
just back up.
Clarissa, you're cool, you're cool. All right, here I go. Let's see. Is that working appropriately, or do I need to reshare? Can you see it okay, Megan?
Yeah, I can see it. It's I can still see the other slides as well, but I can work with that.
Actually, on the main screen. One sec.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Is that better? Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, as you all know, we're here to talk about the Rural Practice Fellowship Program. Again, I was a fellow myself, so I have been in your shoes as a law student.
Lawyers.
Looking to, find my place in rural practice. I'm from a smaller community, and so I've grown up around rural practitioners, and I've seen, the good that they do in their communities, and knew that would always be part of my goals as an attorney, is to provide those services to those smaller rural communities. So Krista, if you can go next. I think we're
so sorry. I went
It's
too
okay.
I'm going to start over here. Hang on. There you go.
Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, it started in 2020. We're now looking for our third year of applicants. During the first 2 years, the fellowship program has placed 17 permanent associates, which I was one of the 16, and then 10 summer clerks in rural firms all over the state. We'll get into a second all the PowerPoint slides that show the different demographics across the state. But I think it's, again, a really cool, interesting program in the fact that we focus on the entire state of Illinois. It's not, really focused on the legal need in our more metropolitan areas. It is, downstate and central Illinois as well. So, that's something that I think is unique about this program, is that it's, focuses on, if you're a student from Southern Illinois University and you want to stay in Southern Illinois, this can be a really great program for you as well. Right now, the application for this fellowship is open. And so if you're interested, please apply. We will have information later about how to apply. But if you're looking for just a summer associateship or a permanent position, we offer both to applicants. Next, Krista, thank you. So this slide, I think, is really helpful to kind of show the legal need and where it's most prevalent in the state. So as you can see, the red counties here have 5 or less private practicing attorneys. I'm from Scott County, which, as you can see from this, has 2 practicing attorneys, and it's one of the red states. And so I grew up, again, in an area where I saw this legal need. I have family members that are one of the 2 practicing attorneys. And so I have firsthand knowledge of just how much work there is out there and how it's overwhelming. There needs to be, many more attorneys in this county to meet the need. And so I think outside of the red counties, you can see most of the counties in Illinois have, they're in the lighter red or the pink area, which shows that, we're getting a little better, but we're not quite to where we need to be. And so the legal need is there without being met by the attorneys that are in that area, which is now forcing, many people to go to the more metropolitan areas and drive further to get legal representation that, may not be as in tune with the legal needs of their community. So, if you're trying to set up LLCs or corporations in their small towns, they might have to drive a couple of counties over to get that done, which is not the goal that I think we all want there. Thank you. Again, this is another slide that shows just how, severe the legal shortage is. So we have coined this term, the legal deserts, which, shows that there are wide geographical areas that are underneath the standard of what the amount of attorneys should be. So, like I was just saying, all these community members have to go elsewhere to get their legal needs met. As you can see, it's a lot of the counties in Illinois, and it's not just set to a certain geographical area. You have Northern Illinois, Central, and Southern. And as you can see, the only ones that are really probably adequate needs are the really metropolitan areas. Another thing that I think spurred the onset of this program is that, speaking to the attorneys in these rural communities, a lot of the older attorneys that are looking for retirement kept saying, I don't have anybody to take over my practice. I don't have someone to kind of transition into my role. And when I'm gone, that's one less attorney in this area. And in some areas, take my county, for example, that's when one person retires, that's half of the legal representation in that county. So that was one of the pushes, to really start this program, and it really brought to light the need that is there. Okay. So this graph here shows how many lawyers in different counties have applied to receive a fellow or to be matched with a fellow, I guess I should say. So again, most of the counties on this map have had many attorneys apply because they think that there's a need in their own practice for, a new associate or a new law clerk, and to kind of show them what rural practice is like. I think it shows just how important this program is and how, this need is, again, across the state, and attorneys are, embracing the fact that this program is there, and it's a great resource for them as they look toward retirement or look to expand their practices. So this shows how many RPI applicants have applied, and the way that the application works is you can show which counties you would be willing to work in or to be placed in. And so, a lot of our applicants are, willing to be placed in a lot of areas. And as you can see from this map, it's pretty broad, and there's a lot of interest in the rural practice. And so if you have interest at all and you've, ever thought about these counties, it's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door to get experience in those places. I know for myself, I predominantly practice in Morgan County, but that doesn't mean that I'm not, in Cass County for appearances or Scott or Pike, or, just because you're maybe willing to be placed in one area doesn't necessarily mean that you're only going to practice in that one county either. Again, rural practice is more of a regional thing. And so being in one area, you get a broad experience of different practice areas along with different circuits. And it's really, every day is a little different, and it's exciting to be a part of it. So next one. So this map here shows where we've placed fellows in the last 2 years, and then we'll update it as we have applicants for this third year and place those. But again, you can see it's really across the board. We have some in Northern, some in Central, some in Southern. And so we really would like to create, more of these flags and these placements all over the state. We want to make sure, if there's a need there, that we can try to meet that need and get people placed. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then it's on to Clarissa, I believe.
Yeah, thank you, Megan. So this fellowship program has two amazing components. The first is the Rural Practice Associates Fellows Program. And this is it's a unique opportunity for 3Ls and newer attorneys to move to associate positions with rural practitioners who are practicing in rural areas, moving to a small town where you have the opportunity to actually work with clients, be mentored by an attorney who works in a firm or owns their firm. And many attorneys will tell you they have much more work than they can handle in all these rural areas. There are a lot of clients and not many attorneys. And so this also offers new graduates and new lawyers, the opportunity to truly practice law. This is not you doing doc review for 5 years. This is you going to court or helping a grandmother get guardianship of her grandchildren, or as one of the fellows said, helping an LLC incorporate, helping businesses in these smaller communities thrive. It's a great experience. You get to be immersed in the legal community, get to join the bar association, get to know judges, meet judges, know who you work with, and run into them at the grocery store or anywhere else. There's a lot of work-life balance that's available in these areas. And this fellowship program pays you $10,000 to move and begin working with a law firm who is really excited to have you there and will do everything they can to provide you with a great experience as you start out in your career. Can you turn to the next slide? If you are a law student and you'd love to move, and you're a 1L or a 2L, and you'd like to try this out for the summer, moving to a rural community or a small town, there are law firms waiting to have you as a summer associate. And you get a $5,000 stipend to move to that community and work with that law firm for the summer. And law students not only get to do work, but some of them shadow judges, some of them get to sit in on trials. Some of them get to go out and interview clients in their homes. It provides a wide breadth of experience, so you can really see what legal practice looks like in some of these communities. If you could turn to the next slide. Both of these programs, even though they're unique in that one is for law students and one is for almost graduates or newer attorneys, they will assist you in connecting you with a law firm in a rural area somewhere in the state of Illinois. Megan just showed you some slides that shows all the places that apply to have fellows, both summer and associate. And it gives you an opportunity, as she mentioned, to select where you want to go. And then it helps give you a stipend just to augment your salary. If you're a new lawyer or a law graduate, or if you're just a law student, it'll give you $5,000 to live on for the summer as you move out there. All of our attorneys, we vet the attorneys who get fellows to ensure that they do provide a quality experience and that they're willing to mentor any law student or graduate or new attorney who comes to work with them. The practice of law does require a lot of on-the-job training, and we want to ensure that you have a good experience and you have a good teacher and mentor who's also willing to immerse you in the community you live in, who will take you to community events, who will take you to bar association events, and connect you with others so that you feel rooted in that place and enjoy your experience. Yeah. The other great thing is you're joining a community as well as with this Rural Practice Initiative Fellowship Program. There are CLEs online that you can attend. Megan can maybe attest to this more, but I think you get to know your fellows a little bit more. You can sort of network, but also maybe troubleshoot some problems. We encourage everyone becomes a member of the ISBA. We ask that you come to ISBA events. And everyone's willing to participate. Not only just the fellows participate in these CLEs and these on-site training programs, but our fellows and our mentors or our lawyers who are working with our fellows are all talking together to create this community where you can exchange information, you can troubleshoot things, you may even get someone to cover a court date for you in another county through these connections. Yeah. And there are other benefits, obviously, to rural law firms. We have a lot of rural law firms who have applied for this. If you could turn to the next slide, Krista, that'd be great. We really do have a lot of legal deserts in Illinois. Megan shared a slide where you saw Scott County has only 2 attorneys. Calhoun County has only 3 attorneys, but that doesn't mean there aren't residents with legal problems and that there aren't people who really need help and who are prepared to hire an attorney if they could find one. So this program does a great job of working for the community, newer law grads, and law firms who are seeking not only help, but in some ways also to transition their practice or to have someone inherit their practice down the road and provide a trusted community member who's going to stay in that community and continue to help, as mentioned in the movie, by also serving on school boards or serving on other boards or participating in other community activities. This is a great opportunity. Next slide. I think it's John now.
All right, thank you, Clarissa. Clarissa mentioned the impact the program has had. It's really had a very positive impact. This is a slide from Ebony Huddleston as a practice in Madison County. She's and she's commented about how it's a meaningful practice she's had in rural counties, getting to know the attorneys, clients, and the judges. And that's one thing I can speak to too, firsthand, having practiced in really central and southern Illinois.
Hey, John, you're cutting out a little bit. We're having some trouble hearing you.
Okay, sorry.
You're cool.
I'm practicing in the rural counties in southern Illinois and central Illinois here, and practicing with the same attorneys all the time. You're hearing before the same judges, so you get to really develop a good relationship with those. And it really is a satisfying practice. You're going to be doing legal issues. It has been mentioned, but the one attorney that spoke on the video, associates aren't going to be paid what they paid in Chicago, St. Louis, in that area, but you can make a very good living practicing in rural areas. So it's to me, the quality of life is so much higher, as well as the cost of living is so much lower. This is the next slide. Closing the access to justice gap. So there is a severe access to justice issue. It's a double-edged, twofold problem. You have lower income individuals and you have fewer attorneys. So choices, it's very difficult for them to find attorneys. Megan mentioned that you can drive to the urban areas to get attorneys, but that's not always a good issue either. So this really has, adding attorneys to the rural areas is key to closing the access to justice. So even though it was not required the first 2 years, 1/3 of the first year RPI fellows voluntarily did pro bono work. So that's just another way of closing the access to justice, providing free or reduced fee services to individuals that are in need of those crucial legal services. As was mentioned by the bar president, it's, when there's 2 attorneys on each side, the matters get resolved so much better, so much quicker, and so much more, I'd say favorable to both sides. And the program will be requiring pro bono in the future years. It's not a set number of hours, but just that the associates and the clerks will do pro bono work during their fellowship. All right, next one. This was a past fellow. I think Parker was on the video. His perspective on how the ISBA rural practice helps to solve the problem of rural families having less access to legal services. And this initiative has allowed them to really start solving those problems by placing those attorneys. Again, it's the numbers. It's a numbers game. You need more attorneys. The more attorneys you have, the better access to justice there is, the better opportunity there is for the fellows to have a successful law practice as well. Chris is going to talk about the application process.
Sure. Thank you, John. Thank you, Megan and Clarissa. We are currently in the application period, as Megan mentioned. Our application deadline for this year and for the class of 23-24 fellows is February 3rd. You can apply online on the ISBA website. There's a link here on the slides. You would, as fellow, you fill out an application. You're required to submit some materials, including a resume, a writing sample, and your law school transcript. Once the application deadline passes, we then take both sets of applications, the applications for the fellows applicants, as well as the law firms seeking to hire. At that time, we make sure that everyone that has applied meets the technical, requirements of the program. And then we work to match the fellows with the law firms based on their geographical location choices. We then send the potential matches to each applicant so that they can then communicate with the firm or fellow and arrange for a job interview, which will just be a traditional job interview like you would have with any other job, just that we match for you. We anticipate sending all of those potential matches to all the applicants by the 17th of February. And then from the 17th of February to the 24th of March, the applicants, it's their responsibility to communicate with their potential matches, set up interviews, and ultimately decide whether a formal match can be made and an employment offer can be made. So those employment offers that are made during that period will then be reported back to the ISBA, and all of the matches will be reviewed, and ultimately firms and fellowship recipients are going to be announced by the 14th of April. And the fellowships for summer clerks typically start in May or early June and go through August. And then the fellowships for associate fellows typically start in August and go for a year to the following August. But in some instances, already licensed attorneys who apply to be placed in a rural area can start their fellowship a little bit earlier, since they're not taking the bar exam, things like that. So that's kind of the application process in a nutshell. Of course, if you have any questions, always feel free to visit the website and to email us directly with any of those questions. I'm going to stop sharing because I think we have, here.
Chris, I had one thing to add too. I don't think we've mentioned that you don't have to be an Illinois attorney or even a Metro St. Louis attorney. We've had attorneys from schools in Mississippi and all over the country can,
absolutely,
as long as they're coming interested in coming to Illinois, it doesn't matter where they're coming from.
Yes, John, that is a good point to make. Absolutely. We do our heavy marketing to the Illinois schools and to the Missouri schools, but we've had applicants from all over the country from different law schools. I think that's about all of our presentation today. I think we're just going to open it up if there are any questions. If you feel comfortable in the chat or if you'd like to speak up to ask questions, we can definitely address those now. And if there are none, that works as well. Again, you can visit the website for kind of the detailed more information and to apply. Megan, John, or Clarissa, anything else from you guys?
Does the website have a list of like prior associates or clerks that, people could talk to if they were interested?
Sure, it doesn't have their contact information, but we do list, I think, the current fellows on there, John, so they are more than welcome to reach out to us directly, and we could always put them in contact with anyone. Okay. Absolutely.
And Krista, feel free to share my contact information. I'm happy to talk to whomever about this opportunity. And I was just going to speak a little bit on, Clarissa had mentioned about, the relationships you develop with the other fellows and some of the CLE programming. And I just wanted to emphasize and say that I found it very helpful. They're not overwhelming. You have them, every month or 2 months. And the topics are really relevant to first year associates, which I found helpful. So it's, kind of navigating ethical issues was one, or kind of navigating the technology side of running a firm, and just different aspects of running a firm, which, you don't really get to have those type of CLEs unless you really seek them out, or your firm's really proactive in educating you on those topics. And so I think that within itself is a great benefit of this program.
Thanks so much, Megan. Absolutely. If we have anyone that would like to talk to a former fellow, you will provide that information. All right. Well, thank you guys again for coming today and to hear about our program. We hope that it's encouraged you to apply and to spread the word for us about the application process. And again, reach out if you have any questions between now and the application period, or even after. We can answer what you need, okay? And thank you to our committee members today.
Thanks, Krista, for facilitating. We appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Krista.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe with the snow coming.
Yeah. Take care.
See
Bye-bye.
ya.